another man we have to get over the finish line. We need him desperately in this state. So I'm going to let him say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Colleen. Thank you, everybody, for coming down here today in this miserable weather, this horrible situation. And I think they heard that you guys were coming, and they heard that other things were going to go on, and that's why they worked so late to try to do this in the dead of night, as Jim indicated, so to discourage folks from being here. I would suspect that because you were coming and many others were coming is why they did this in the dead of night last night, rather than be in a situation where they would actually hear from the people, hear from live people who had participated in those 50-some thousand plus witness slips that they claimed were bots. You know, we know that they're not bots, they're real people, because of course there's a CAPTCHA at the end, and you have to fill out all the documents. There's no particular bot algorithm that can do that, so that's a particular lie. I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is something new. I'm running for Attorney General, and so I am in fact a prerequisite to that is being a lawyer. So I'm going to talk about little lawyer things. You know, there's some interesting things. The Supreme Court interprets and gives us the definitions of what the Constitution means, but what they do, of course, is they put a floor on the exercise of our rights. Each state has to protect rights at least to the minimum that the federal courts say, but they do not have. There's nothing that prevents them from granting greater protections than the federal courts say. And in 1977, under the leadership of Governor Jim Thompson, the state of Illinois moved to give religious freedom greater protections in the state of Illinois than existed under the federal Constitution, existed under the First Amendment. And now, yesterday, this Democratic governor, is moving to take away those greater protections that the state of Illinois had granted to its people in terms of protecting their religious freedom. And it's something important to note that this Healthcare Right of Conscience Act, it doesn't protect group rights, it protects an individual's right to, in fact, exercise their freedom. And I doubt that there's anybody in this building that voted for that law that would like to see themselves portrayed as either pro-discrimination or anti-minority. But the fact is by repealing these protections, they are pro-discrimination. They are providing for and allowing discrimination to take place. They could not take place now. And something that people should understand, that in fact, the smallest minority of any people is actually the individual. And if in fact you are against or attack the rights of an individual, you cannot be properly called in favor of minority rights. So you are actually anti-minority rights if you're trying to remove the right of an individual. That's what they're trying to do. And I listened to some of the debate last night, and I might mention that it came up that some of the Democratic senators were mentioning that they were doing some of this on the advice of the Attorney General. Just on a separate note, I'm representing the Illinois Conservative Union in a lawsuit against the Illinois State Board of Elections. And all we're asking them to do is follow federal law when it comes to keeping the voter rolls clean, right? That's really all we're asking them to do. And all the State Board of Elections is saying on the other side, well, no, we don't have to follow the law. And you know who is defending them that's saying they don't have to follow the law? The Attorney General of the Attorney General of the state of Illinois is saying that they don't have to follow the law. And there's something called the Attorney General Act, and it says the first duty of the Attorney General is to represent the people of the state of Illinois. It's not to represent the governor. It's not to represent the legislature. It's to represent the people. And the current Attorney General, he is representing the governor and the state legislature actually against the people. And that was one of the motivations for me to do this. And I hope you will help me in pursuing that. And one last mention on the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act, and that is though they're doing some repeals. Everybody talks about the legislators and the governor and whatnot. You know, ultimately, when this question comes up in court. And the people in court that decide that, in fact, are judges. We elect judges. We elect judges here. We're in charge of the judiciary as well. And I would encourage everybody, when they take a look at judges, and if there's going to be a judge's night or a candidate's night, you go and you ask the candidates for judges. And if there's limits on what they can say because they can't talk about what a case is going to be, they are free to talk about what their judicial philosophy is. And you're free to ask them, what's their judicial philosophy when it comes to the protection of individual rights? I suggest to you that that's a very, very important question to pose anybody that's running for a judge. So, not just the legislators, not just the governor, not just the constitutional officers. We got to look after the judges as well. So I encourage everybody to do that. I thank you for coming here today. This is fantastic that you're out here still, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. Dave Shestokas.